Hey, welcome to Ergo Everything, where we discuss RSI solutions for computer users. Today, we're discussing trigger point therapy. It's also called myofascial release sometimes, and specifically my experience after actually a little bit over a month of using trigger point therapy as outlined in this book, the Trigger Point Therapy Workbook by Claire Davies. I've read at this point, I think, 4 books related to RSI, and I think this is the most well done book, and it's been the most effective intervention that I've tried out of everything by far. So I want to share what my experience is. It's only been a month, but it seems pretty promising so far. So in this video, we are going to cover a brief history of my injury, because I feel like sometimes when people say that they heal from RSI, their injury wasn't very severe, or maybe it was very different from what I've experienced, like they have a different injury or something. So we'll go over that as quickly as we can. Then we will discuss where my symptoms are at now after a month. And then I'll try to kind of outline the process of using the book. So, to begin with, my injury started about 6 years ago. It began with typing, and I would feel pain like actually in my fingertips, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I got the Kinesis Advantage 2 keyboard. After a couple months, my pain went away, but then I had issues with using mice. And I thought the solution was going to be the same. If I just found the right mouse, I would get better. And so, but I just played this game where I would use one mouse, it would use different muscles than a regular mouse. And so it would feel good until I burnt those muscles out. So I just like really thoroughly just messed up my forearms. Then I tried to get into programming because I had opportunities to do that. I had to reach for the shift key a lot, which involved a lot of ulnar deviation. And I got ulnar nerve pain in the pinkies here, numbness, tingling. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have motor issues with that nerve because my grip strength has been really, really fucked. And at that point, once I got the ulnar nerve pain, I then started using voice recognition software. I was very stressed about my injury at that point. And I think the stress caused me to lose my voice very rapidly. And at that point, I had to quit my job. Now, my symptoms at that point were super bad. I was in pain literally constantly, regardless of what I was doing. It was hard to cook, hard to drive, I just stopped doing my hair. I couldn't like straighten my hair, curl my hair or anything. So it was just so bad. I waited a couple months, and some of the pain started going away. And then I tried to get a job that didn't involve using computers. I then had to quit that job. I got another job that didn't involve computers. Had to quit that job within a couple weeks. Got another one. Had to quit that job. At that point, I realized, oh my God, my hands are so bad. I literally like can't do any kind of work. So then I took a break. I started doing hot and cold contrast baths, which helped a little bit. I started doing this exercise where I had a wooden dowel and some beans, and I would roll it up and down. That helped actually quite significantly. I was able to get out of pain, and the ulnar nerve pain just kind of like disappeared. I was taking an anatomy class during that time, and unfortunately, that brought my ulnar nerve pain back really bad. And I kind of ended up back in the same boat. Like I got to the point where it was very, very tiring to do things like cook or drive and whatnot, but it didn't hurt anymore. This is too long. But anyways, it was very bad. I like didn't drive for like almost a month straight. I would only go to the grocery store and that was it. I wouldn't drive anywhere else. The pain was just like really terrible, and I had 2 types of pain, the ulnar nerve pain, and then the other one was like pain here, which is basically in the extensor tendons. And yeah, and the exercise did not help with the ulnar nerve pain. So eventually I decided I was going to try this book, and after a month, here's where I'm at. So the ulnar nerve pain is basically gone. The tendon pain and weakness, like I was definitely very weak. It was difficult for me to open jars. Like I could usually open the first jar, but then if you gave me like a second jar, there was no way I was going to be able to open up the second jar. So my strength and these tendons, at the time that I started the trigger point therapy, I was not in any pain in the tendons, but they were still very, very weak. And I was able to increase the strength. And I went from doing 2 reps of my exercise, which to me means rolling all the way up and then all the way down. That's 1 rep. I went from doing 2 reps to I can now do 4 reps on each side. I do the top, I do the extensors, and then the flexors. So those are the results. I do not think that it is the end of the road for fixing the kind of tendon and forearm weakness problem, but I do absolutely think that it is the solution to my nerve pain. So how did it work? The book is really dense. I was very grateful I had taken that anatomy class, but it has diagrams like this. It has sections, and basically you can just kind of look up where your pain is. Like, is it mid-back pain? Is it forearm pain? And then the book will tell you the most likely candidates for what could be causing that pain. And sometimes it's something you really wouldn't think of. Like, my ulnar nerve pain is related mostly to my neck muscles. And it'll just kind of tell you where to go, and then you just try out the things that it recommends, and you see if they help. And if it's going to help, you will feel it almost like immediately. So it has these little diagrams. It shows you where the trigger points are. It shows you where the referred pain can be. And there is like a lot of reading to massage any new muscle, it seems like. And you end up doing things where you learn how to do like an isolated contraction so that you can find the muscle, and then you can like try to massage it. I think it's pretty user friendly, but I do have like a pretty strong like biology anatomy background. It takes a lot of time. For the most part, I was spending about 4 hours with this book every day for the first 2 weeks. And it took about 2 hours to do the massage itself. I just used a racquetball up against the wall. I found that did not allow me to massage the tops of the traps. So I did get a Theracane. This was the most expensive part because I got the book for like $6. And I did find that I needed smaller balls, so I got some bouncy balls as well. And that's all I needed to be able to execute the therapy. But I started out with my forearms, and I noticed that I got some nerve relief when I massaged the extensor carpi ulnaris, the flexor carpi ulnaris, and later on the digitorum, flexor digitorum profundus and superficialis. I also noticed some relief of pain, my nerve pain, when I massaged the medial head of the triceps. But then I was kind of working my way up. Once I got to the neck, I had these were like small amounts of relief. Once I massaged the scalenes, so the anterior and the medial scalene, all the pain went away. And I did a little more research, and I think that maybe I could have thoracic outlet syndrome because the nerve and blood vessel pass between the anterior and medial scalene. So if they get tight, they can compress the nerve. And the book, I think I read this from the book. I've been doing a lot of reading. But basically, anywhere, all the muscles I mentioned are muscles that the ulnar nerve either controls or passes between. So if the nerve controls that muscle and it has to like put off a branch to go into that muscle, it can kind of get stuck there. It can also, of course, get kind of like pinched between two muscles. And so that is like supposed to be the reason why this treatment worked for me, is that I honestly, through reading, I think that I have a lot of like fascial adhesions. So your fascia wraps your muscles, it wraps your bones, it wraps your organs, it wraps your arteries and veins. And when you get injured, it is used to scar and like put a muscle back together. But it also will often accidentally like stick one muscle to a muscle below it or above it. And then muscles get stuck together and they can't slide back and forth. I think that has happened in my forearm. And I don't think trigger point massage is enough to tackle that issue. But it definitely was enough to free up the nerve, because the nerve just like has very specific areas where it can get stuck. So my nerve pain is gone. Once I got the bouncy ball, I was able to massage the extensor digitorum, and it's like a really deep muscle. It's under all the other muscles. And so once I got this, I then started to feel that relief, and I was able to suddenly just lift more, to increase my reps, double them. Another really, really cool thing about the trigger point therapy is I'm also starting to unravel an old hip injury. Just quite recently. I didn't mess with that at the beginning. I was focused on my goal of the RSI. But I have realized that my hip injury was trigger points in my gluteus minimus and piriformis. And I went and saw chiropractors and physical therapists, and they did recommend I use a foam roller on my tushy, but there's like absolutely no way that was going to penetrate down to those very, very deep gluteal muscles. And so with this, and I don't know, maybe like an hour of time reading the book, it helps so much. Like, I've been dealing with this stupid hip pain for so long, and now I'm starting to figure that out. I'm figuring out pain in my foot, and it's really great. It's incredibly powerful. It does take forever to use. My routine is I spend about an hour massaging my neck, and I spend probably like 45 minutes to an hour massaging like my forearms and the triceps. So at this point, I feel like I'm ready to go back to work. Not to work with computers. I have found that after treatment, I feel like I can type for about 2 hours before I feel any discomfort, and I can write with pen and paper for about 1 hour before I feel any discomfort. However, I do feel confident that I can go back to like a regular job. I'm thinking of getting like a seasonal retail job because Christmas time is coming up. And that's like a really big win for me. Because I was kind of stuck at a place where I was terrified to work any job because you have to use your hands in life, and I just couldn't use my hands. So I'm very happy with the results. Going forward, I feel like I'm going to have to find some other kind of massage or technique to release fascia in my forearms. I truly think that basically the muscles have kind of adhered to each other. But I am like very happy with the results I got from this, and I think people should try it out. It's quite an investment of time, but it can be really worth it. Mostly if you have nerve pain. If you don't have nerve pain, the results are probably going to be less so, but it's been really great. And just wanted to share that. So have a great evening. Hope your hands get better, and we'll see you next time.